Stop telling everyone what you're about to remove from your life. Some things become powerful the moment you quietly let them go. There comes a point in life when you realize that peace does not come from adding more. Sometimes, peace comes from removing what has been draining you all along. The Stoics understood this deeply. They believed that a strong person does not need to announce every change they make. You don't need to explain every boundary. You don't need permission to outgrow an old version of yourself. Sometimes, the most powerful transformation happens in silence. Welcome back to Stoic Ascension, where we learn to master ourselves, strengthen our minds, and live with purpose. If this message speaks to you, share it with someone who needs to hear it, leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Stoic Ascension for more powerful Stoic wisdom. The first thing you should quietly remove is the need for everyone's approval. Imagine a young man who had a dream of starting his own business. Every time he mentioned it, someone had an opinion. One person laughed. Another told him it was unrealistic. Someone else compared him to a successful person and said he would never reach that level. Eventually, he stopped talking about the dream. Not because he had given up, but because he realized something important. He had been asking people to approve a life they were never going to live for him. So he became quiet. He worked. He learned. He failed. He improved. Months later, people began noticing the results. This is the Stoic way. Your life does not need a committee. If you spend your days trying to make everyone understand you, you will eventually lose yourself trying to satisfy them. Remove the need for approval quietly. Let your actions speak. Let your discipline explain you. The second thing to remove is constant complaining. There was once a man who complained every morning about his job. The salary was bad. His boss was difficult. His co-workers annoyed him. The hours were exhausting. One day, an older colleague listened to him and asked, "What are you going to do about it?" The man had no answer. That question changed him. He realized that complaining had become his comfort zone. It made him feel like he was doing something, while he was actually doing nothing. So he stopped complaining. He started learning new skills after work. He saved money. He applied for better opportunities. Eventually, he left that job. The situation did not change because he complained louder. It changed because he became more disciplined. Stoicism teaches you to separate what you can control from what you cannot. Complaining about what you cannot control wastes energy that could have been used to improve what you can control. You do not need to announce that you are becoming less negative. Just become quieter. Work on the problem. Change what you can. Accept what you cannot. The third thing to remove is your obsession with the past. A man once carried an old mistake for years. He had made a decision in his youth that cost him an important opportunity. Every time life became difficult, he reminded himself of that mistake. I should have known better. If only I had chosen differently. If only I could go back. But the past never answered him. One morning, he realized he was punishing the person he used to be while expecting the person he could become to somehow survive. That day, he decided to stop living backward. Your past can teach you, but it should not imprison you. You cannot rewrite yesterday. You can only decide what you will do today. Remove the habit of repeatedly punishing yourself for something you cannot change. Take the lesson. Accept the consequence. Become wiser. Then keep walking. The fourth thing to remove is the habit of explaining yourself to people who have already decided to misunderstand you. Imagine someone who constantly defended himself whenever people criticized his choices. He explained why he changed careers. He explained why he stopped going to certain places. He explained why he became more private. He explained every boundary. And still, some people misunderstood him. Eventually, he realized that explanations do not always create understanding. Some people are not looking for the truth. They are looking for a version of you that makes them comfortable. The Stoic response is not anger. It is composure. You know your intentions. You know your values. You know why you made the decision. You do not need to turn your entire life into a courtroom where everyone gets to question you. Remove excessive explanations. Say what needs to be said. Then let your behavior carry the rest. The fifth thing to remove is unnecessary comparison. A woman once looked at social media every night and felt like she was falling behind. Someone was buying a house. Someone else was traveling. Another person had a successful business. Another was getting married. Another was becoming famous. She looked at her own life and thought, what am I doing wrong? But she was comparing her private struggles to everyone else's public highlights. Then she remembered something simple: a tree does not look at another tree and complain that it is growing too slowly. It simply grows. Your journey is yours. Someone else's success does not make you a failure. Someone else's timing does not determine yours. Stop measuring your worth against another person's timeline. Focus on your character. Focus on your skills. Focus on your discipline. Focus on becoming better than the person you were yesterday. The sixth thing to remove is the need to respond to every provocation. Someone insults you. You want to answer. Someone disrespects you. You want to prove them wrong. Someone posts something about you. You feel the urge to defend yourself immediately. But imagine a man walking through a village when someone throws a stone at him. He could stop walking and spend the entire day fighting the person who threw it. Or he could keep moving. The stone only controls his journey if he allows it to stop him. Not every insult deserves an answer. Not every argument deserves your energy. Not every person deserves access to your emotions. Sometimes silence is not weakness. Sometimes silence is mastery. The Stoic does not ask, how can I make them regret what they did? The Stoic asks, why would I give them control over my peace? Remove the habit of reacting immediately. Pause. Breathe. Think. Then choose your response. The seventh thing to quietly remove is the version of yourself that you have already outgrown. This may be the hardest one. There was once a man who stayed around people who constantly pulled him backward because they had known him for years. Whenever he tried to change, they reminded him of who he used to be. You were never like this. You're acting different. You think you're better now. But he was not trying to become better than them. He was simply trying to become better than himself. And eventually, he understood that growth sometimes requires distance. You do not have to hate people to outgrow them. You do not have to announce your departure. You do not have to make a dramatic speech. You can simply become different. Your priorities change. Your habits change. Your standards change. Your environment changes. And one day, you realize that the person you used to be no longer feels like home. Let that person go. Quietly. Peacefully. Without hatred. Without revenge. Without needing anyone to understand. Remember this, the strongest changes in your life may be the ones nobody sees happening. You do not have to announce that you are becoming disciplined. Just wake up and do the work. You do not have to announce that you are becoming peaceful. Just stop feeding unnecessary conflict. You do not have to announce that you are leaving the past behind. Just stop returning to it every morning. You do not have to tell everyone that you are becoming stronger. Let them notice later. Stoicism is not about becoming cold. It is about becoming governed by reason instead of impulse. It is about understanding that your attention is valuable. Your time is valuable. Your peace is valuable. And not everything deserves access to you. So remove what weakens you. Remove what distracts you. Remove what keeps you trapped in yesterday. Remove the need for approval. Remove constant complaining. Remove comparison. Remove unnecessary explanations. Remove reactive anger. And remove the version of yourself that no longer belongs in the future you are building. Do it quietly. Because when you truly change, you will not need to convince anyone. Your life will eventually become the evidence. And perhaps that is the greatest lesson of all, you do not need to become louder to become stronger. There is a kind of power that does not announce itself. It does not post every victory. It does not explain every decision. It does not seek applause. It simply continues. Think about a seed buried beneath the ground. Nobody sees it growing. There is no audience cheering for it. There is no recognition. There is only darkness, pressure, patience, and quiet growth. And then one day, it breaks through the soil. That is how your transformation may look. For months, perhaps even years, nobody may notice what you are becoming. You may wake up earlier. You may stop wasting hours scrolling. You may become more selective about who gets access to you. You may stop arguing. You may stop chasing people who do not value you. You may begin reading, learning, training, saving, building, and thinking differently. And from the outside, it may look like nothing is happening. But inside, everything is changing. This is where many people make a mistake. They want everyone to know they are changing before they have actually changed. They announce the new routine. They announce the new goal. They announce the new mindset. They tell everyone what they are going to accomplish. Then the excitement disappears. The Stoic understands something different. Protect the process. You don't need to tell everyone what you're building while you're still laying the foundation. Let your discipline remain private. Let your progress remain quiet. Let your results eventually speak for you. Because when you constantly announce your intentions, you can sometimes receive the emotional reward before doing the actual work. You tell people you're going to get fit. They congratulate you. You tell them you're starting a business. They praise your ambition. You tell them you're going to change your life. They tell you how proud they are. And suddenly, your mind receives a small taste of the satisfaction you were supposed to earn through action. Instead, stay silent. Work. Let the satisfaction come from keeping promises to yourself. There is something deeply powerful about being able to say, nobody knows what I'm doing, but I know I'm becoming better. That is self-respect. And self-respect is stronger than applause. You also need to quietly remove the habit of chasing people who continually show you that they don't value your presence. Imagine someone standing outside a locked door, knocking again and again. They knock. They wait. They knock again. They send messages. They apologize. They explain. They try harder. But the door remains closed. Eventually, they realize something. The answer was already there. The closed door was the answer. Sometimes you are not being asked to knock harder. You are being asked to walk away. Stop chasing what repeatedly rejects you. Stop begging for attention. Stop forcing conversations. Stop trying to convince someone of your worth. The Stoics understood that you cannot control another person's feelings, decisions, or behavior. But you can control where you place your energy. And your energy is one of the most valuable things you own. Give it to your growth. Give it to your family. Give it to your purpose. Give it to becoming wiser. Give it to building a life that does not depend on someone else's approval. And when someone walks away, let them. Not because you don't care. But because you care enough about yourself to understand that forcing someone to stay is not love, friendship, or respect. It is attachment. An attachment to what you cannot control will eventually become suffering. So release it. Quietly. Another thing you should remove is the habit of seeking revenge. Someone hurt you. They embarrassed you. They betrayed your trust. And perhaps a part of you wants them to suffer the way you suffered. But ask yourself. If you spend the next 5 years trying to make someone regret what they did, who is actually controlling your life? They are. You are allowing their actions to occupy space inside your mind long after they have left your life. The greatest revenge is not destroying someone. It is becoming so peaceful that their behavior no longer determines your emotional state. Let them think whatever they want. Let them misunderstand you. Let them underestimate you. Let them believe you will never change. You do not need to correct every false opinion. Your responsibility is not to control their perception. Your responsibility is to control yourself. And sometimes the most powerful response is simply becoming unavailable for the same chaos. No argument. No revenge. No dramatic goodbye. Just distance. Just growth. Just peace. Remember this. A person who has mastered himself does not need to defeat everybody else. He simply refuses to be defeated by his own impulses. That is where true Stoic strength begins. You will also need to quietly remove the habit of waiting for the perfect moment. A young man once waited for the perfect time to begin. He wanted more money first. More confidence. More knowledge. More support. More certainty. Years passed. And he eventually realized that the perfect moment had never been coming. The only thing he had been perfecting was his ability to postpone his own life. Do not make the same mistake. Start before you feel ready. Read the book. Start the business. Learn the skill. Have the difficult conversation. Change the environment. Wake up earlier. Take the first step. You do not need to see the entire staircase. You only need enough courage to take the next step. Marcus Aurelius repeatedly reminded himself to focus on the work directly in front of him. That lesson still applies. Don't obsess over the entire future. Ask yourself, what is the right thing I can do today? Then do it. Tomorrow will ask its own question. Answer it when it arrives. And when you begin removing these things from your life, don't expect everyone to celebrate. Some people may become uncomfortable with your boundaries. Some may question your silence. Some may say you've changed. And they are right. You have changed. But changing does not mean becoming arrogant. It means becoming more intentional. You can remain kind without being available to everyone. You can forgive without allowing someone back into your life. You can love people without allowing them to control you. You can remain humble while becoming extremely disciplined. You can be peaceful without becoming passive. This is the balance Stoicism teaches. Strength without cruelty. Confidence without arrogance. Silence without fear. Discipline without needing applause. And peace without needing everything around you to be perfect. So tonight, ask yourself one honest question. What am I carrying that I was never meant to carry this far? Maybe it's an old resentment. Maybe it's someone else's opinion. Maybe it's an addiction to comparison. Maybe it's a friendship that has become unhealthy. Maybe it's the fear of starting. Maybe it's guilt about your past. Maybe it's the need to prove yourself. Whatever it is, you don't have to announce that you're letting it go. Just begin. One day at a time. One decision at a time. One quiet act of discipline at a time. And eventually, you'll look back and realize that the person who once needed all those things is gone. Not because you destroyed that person, but because you outgrew them. And that is the quiet beauty of transformation. Nobody may see the moment you decide to change. Nobody may see the nights you fight your old habits. Nobody may see the mornings you choose discipline over comfort. Nobody may see the times you wanted to react but chose silence. Nobody may see the people you stopped chasing. Nobody may see the battles you won inside your own mind. But you will know. And perhaps that's enough. Because the goal was never to impress the world. The goal was to become someone you can respect when you are alone. So remove what weakens you. Protect what strengthens you. Control what is yours to control. Accept what is not. And keep moving. Quietly. Patiently. Relentlessly. Until one day, the life you once talked about becomes the life you are actually living. And when people finally notice the difference, you won't need to explain. You won't need to say, "I told you so." You won't need revenge. You won't need applause. You'll simply keep walking. Because the strongest person in the room is often the one who no longer needs the room to notice them. And when you finally understand that, something inside you changes. You stop trying to prove that you are becoming better. You simply become better. You stop telling people about your discipline. You practice it. You stop announcing that you are leaving negativity behind. You simply stop participating in it. You stop explaining why you are different. You accept that you are different. And most importantly, you stop asking the world for permission to become the person you know you are capable of becoming. There was a man who spent years waiting for someone to tell him he was good enough. He wanted his father to be proud. He wanted his friends to respect him. He wanted strangers to notice his achievements. He wanted everyone around him to confirm that his life mattered. But no matter how much he accomplished, the feeling never lasted. One compliment created happiness for a moment. Then he needed another. One achievement made him proud. Then he needed something bigger. One person praised him. Then he started worrying about what everyone else thought. Eventually, he realized he had built his entire identity around external approval. So he made a decision. He would stop performing for people. He would start living according to his values. That decision didn't make his life instantly easier. But it made his life honest. And honesty is where inner peace begins. You don't need everyone to understand your journey. Some people will only understand the version of you that benefited from your lack of boundaries. When you become more disciplined, they may call you distant. When you stop entertaining gossip, they may call you boring. When you stop lending your energy to pointless arguments, they may call you weak. When you become ambitious, they may call you arrogant. When you stop accepting disrespect, they may call you difficult. Let them. You cannot build a meaningful life while constantly trying to control every interpretation of your behavior. The Stoic does not live according to every opinion. The Stoic lives according to principle. Ask yourself. Is this action honorable? Is it necessary? Is it within my control? Does it move me toward the person I want to become? If the answer is yes, keep moving. You don't need a crowd behind you. Sometimes the path toward greatness becomes quieter as you walk it. There is another thing you should remove quietly, the habit of constantly consuming information without applying it. You can watch thousands of motivational videos. Read dozens of books. Listen to podcasts every morning. Save quotes. Write goals. Make plans. And still remain exactly where you are. Why? Because knowledge without action becomes another form of procrastination. Imagine a man who spends every day studying how to swim. He watches professionals. He reads about breathing techniques. He studies the movement of the arms. He understands the science of buoyancy. But he never enters the water. Does he know how to swim? Not really. At some point, you have to get into the water. You have to practice. You have to fail. You have to adjust. You have to keep going. Your life works the same way. Don't just study discipline. Practice it. Don't just study courage. Use it. Don't just watch videos about Stoicism. Apply Stoicism when someone insults you. Apply it when plans fail. Apply it when you lose. Apply it when you're tempted to quit. Philosophy becomes powerful when it moves from your mind into your behavior. That is when you stop merely knowing what is right and start becoming someone who does what is right. You should also quietly remove the habit of making excuses. There is a difference between understanding your circumstances and using your circumstances as an excuse. Maybe your beginning is difficult. Maybe you didn't have the opportunities someone else had. Maybe you've made mistakes. Maybe you've wasted years. Acknowledge reality. But don't surrender your future to it. A man once complained that he had no money to start improving his life. Someone asked him, "What do you have?" He thought about it. He had time. He had a phone. He had access to information. He had 2 hands. He had the ability to learn. It wasn't everything. But it was something. And sometimes something is enough to begin. You don't need perfect circumstances. You need a willingness to use what you have. The Stoics were not obsessed with having ideal conditions. They were obsessed with responding well to whatever conditions appeared. That is resilience. And resilience grows when you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What can I do with this?" That single question can change your entire life. A setback becomes training. A rejection becomes redirection. A failure becomes information. A difficult season becomes an opportunity to build endurance. You don't have to love the obstacle. You simply have to use it. And remember, removing something from your life does not always mean physically walking away from it. Sometimes you remove it mentally. You remove the belief that you are incapable. You remove the story that says your past determines your future. You remove the identity of being a victim. You remove the belief that you must always be understood. You remove the assumption that life owes you fairness. Because the moment you stop demanding that life behave exactly as you want, you become much harder to break. This doesn't mean you stop having dreams. It means you stop making your peace dependent on whether those dreams happen exactly according to schedule. You can pursue success without worshiping success. You can pursue wealth without making money your identity. You can pursue love without becoming dependent on another person's attention. You can pursue recognition without needing recognition to feel valuable. This is freedom. And freedom is one of the greatest gifts Stoicism can give you. Think about how much energy people waste trying to control things that are not theirs. They worry about what someone thinks. They worry about what someone will say. They worry about whether someone will stay. They worry about the past. They worry about the future. They worry about events that may never happen. Meanwhile, the present moment is sitting in front of them, waiting to be lived. Bring your attention back. Right now. This moment is real. Your breathing is real. Your choices are real. The task in front of you is real. Use it. You don't need to solve your entire life tonight. You need to win the next decision. When anger appears, choose restraint. When laziness appears, choose action. When fear appears, choose courage. When temptation appears, remember your purpose. When failure appears, choose learning. When success appears, choose humility. One decision becomes a habit. One habit becomes a character. And character eventually becomes destiny. That is why the small things matter. The 5 minutes you spend learning. The decision to put your phone down. The moment you choose not to respond to an insult. The morning you get out of bed when you don't feel like it. The night you refuse to return to an unhealthy habit. Nobody may applaud those moments. But those moments are building you. And perhaps you are currently in a season where nobody sees your progress. Good. Use it. Let this be your season of preparation. Let it be the season where you stop seeking attention and start seeking mastery. Let it be the season where you stop telling everyone your plans and start executing them. Let it be the season where you quietly become dangerous to your old limitations. Not dangerous to other people. Dangerous to the habits that once controlled you. Dangerous to the excuses that kept you small. Dangerous to the fear that kept you waiting. Dangerous to the need for approval. Become so disciplined that your old distractions can no longer recognize you. Become so peaceful that chaos no longer feels exciting. Become so focused that meaningless opinions become background noise. Become so comfortable with yourself that you no longer need constant validation. And when you reach that point, you will understand something beautiful. You were never waiting for the world to change. You were waiting for yourself to wake up. So wake up. Remove what needs to be removed. Release what needs to be released. Build what needs to be built. And keep your mouth quiet while your hands stay busy. You don't have to tell everyone. You don't have to explain. You don't have to prove it. Just keep going. Because eventually, the person who doubted you will see the results. The person who underestimated you will see the results. The people who thought you would never change will see the results. But by then, something surprising may happen. You won't care anymore. Because you will have outgrown the need for their approval. And that is when you truly win. Not when everyone believes in you. But when you finally believe enough in yourself to keep going even when nobody does. So keep your plans private when they need protection. Keep your discipline consistent. Keep your emotions under command. Keep your standards high. Keep your heart free from unnecessary resentment. And keep walking toward the person you were meant to become. But there is one final truth you must understand. Removing things from your life is not only about becoming more productive. It is about becoming more free. Because sometimes the things you need to remove are invisible. You cannot see them sitting on a table. You cannot put them in a trash bag. They live inside your thoughts. They live inside the stories you repeat to yourself. They live inside the fears you have carried for years. And if you never confront them, you can change your environment while remaining trapped in the same mind. So look deeper. Remove the belief that you must always be understood. There will be moments when you do everything with good intentions and someone still sees you as the villain. You explain. They disagree. You explain again. They still misunderstand. Eventually, you have to accept something uncomfortable. You can be a good person and still be misunderstood. A Stoic does not spend his entire life trying to control another person's interpretation. Imagine standing beside a lake and throwing a stone into the water. The stone creates ripples. You can watch them. You can study them. But you cannot command every ripple to move in the direction you want. People are like that. Their opinions are influenced by their experiences, insecurities, expectations, and personal beliefs. You cannot control all of that. So stop trying. Be honest. Be respectful. Do what you believe is right. Then release the outcome. Your character does not become less valuable because someone failed to recognize it. Remove the need to be understood by everyone. You will breathe easier. You should also remove the habit of holding on to things simply because they are familiar. Familiar does not always mean good. A cage can become familiar. A bad habit can become familiar. A toxic environment can become familiar. Even unhappiness can become familiar. And sometimes people remain in situations that hurt them simply because uncertainty feels more frightening than suffering. A woman once spent years in a job she hated. Every morning she complained. Every evening she promised herself she would find something better. But she stayed. Why? Because she knew how to survive in that job. The unknown frightened her. Eventually, she realized something. She wasn't staying because the situation was good. She was staying because it was familiar. So she began preparing quietly. She learned new skills. She saved money. She applied for opportunities. She didn't announce her plan. She simply prepared. And eventually, she left. The first few months were difficult. But difficulty was different now. She was struggling towards something instead of suffering in place. Sometimes you need to choose the discomfort of growth over the comfort of familiarity. Don't confuse peace with stagnation. And don't confuse fear with a warning. Sometimes fear is simply the feeling that appears when you're standing at the edge of a new life. Another thing to remove is your addiction to instant gratification. We live in a world where almost everything is designed to give you something immediately. Instant entertainment. Instant messages. Instant opinions. Instant food. Instant distractions. But meaningful things rarely happen instantly. Strength takes time. Wisdom takes time. Trust takes time. Skill takes time. Success takes time. Character takes time. And if you train your mind to demand immediate rewards, you will struggle to build anything that requires patience. Imagine two men planting trees. One becomes impatient after a few weeks. He digs up the seed to check whether it is growing. He keeps disturbing the soil. He wants evidence immediately. The other waters it, protects it, and waits. Months pass. The first man sees nothing because he never gave the seed enough peace to grow. The second eventually sees a small tree rising from the ground. Your life can be like that. Stop digging up your progress every week to see whether you're successful yet. Keep working. Keep learning. Keep showing up. Some growth happens beneath the surface before it becomes visible. And while you are waiting, don't allow other people's timelines to make you panic. You may see someone succeed at 20 while you are still figuring yourself out. Someone may build a business in 2 years while yours takes 10. Someone may find love quickly while you spend years alone. Someone may achieve financial freedom before you. So what? Their clock is not your clock. The Stoic does not ask, why am I not where they are? He asks, am I becoming better than I was? That is the comparison that matters. Your competition is not the person on the other side of the screen. It is the weaker version of yourself. The version that procrastinated. The version that made excuses. The version that needed everyone to approve. The version that allowed anger to control decisions. The version that gave up when progress became slow. Defeat that version. Quietly. Every morning. Every choice. Every day. And perhaps one of the most important things you should remove is the fear of being alone. There is a difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness says, nobody is here for me. Solitude says, I can use this time to meet myself. There will be seasons when fewer people are around you. Don't automatically assume something is wrong. Sometimes life becomes quiet because you are being given space to hear your own thoughts. Use it. Read. Think. Plan. Walk. Reflect. Build. Learn who you are when nobody is watching. Because if you are terrified of being alone, you may keep the wrong people simply to avoid silence. And that can become extremely expensive. You may tolerate disrespect. You may accept manipulation. You may remain in friendships that constantly drain you. You may chase relationships that have already ended emotionally. All because silence feels uncomfortable. But solitude can teach you something society often cannot. You are enough company for yourself. And when you become comfortable alone, your relationships become healthier. You stop choosing people because you need them. You choose people because you genuinely value them. That is freedom. Remove the fear of solitude. And while you're there, remove the habit of filling every quiet moment with noise. You don't always need music. You don't always need your phone. You don't always need entertainment. You don't always need another video. Sometimes you need silence. Because silence reveals things. It reveals what you actually think. It reveals what you actually feel. It reveals what you've been avoiding. And if you never sit quietly, you may never notice what your mind has been trying to tell you. The Stoics practiced reflection for a reason. They knew that a person who never examines his life can easily become controlled by it. So create moments where you are alone with your thoughts. Ask yourself, what am I doing that I know I should stop? What am I avoiding because I am afraid? Who am I trying to impress? What would I do differently if nobody could judge me? What am I tolerating that is slowly destroying my peace? And perhaps the most important question, what kind of person am I becoming through my daily choices? Because your future is being built right now. Not someday. Now. Every habit is a vote. Every decision is a direction. Every repeated action is shaping your character. You don't suddenly wake up one morning with incredible discipline. You build it through small decisions made when nobody is watching. And that's why quiet transformation is so powerful. You don't need motivation every day. You need principles. Motivation disappears. Principles remain. You don't always need to feel inspired to do what is right. Sometimes you simply need to remember who you decided to become. There will be mornings when you don't want to work. Work anyway. There will be days when you feel like quitting. Rest if necessary, but don't surrender. There will be moments when someone provokes you. Pause. There will be opportunities to return to an old habit. Remember why you left it. There will be moments when you feel behind. Remember your own path. This is how strength is built. Not through one massive decision. Through hundreds of quiet decisions. Nobody may notice. But you will. And eventually, your life will reveal the accumulation of all those choices. That is why you should stop obsessing over dramatic transformation. Focus on consistency. You don't need to change your entire life tonight. You need to make one better decision. Then another. Then another. And another. Until the direction of your life changes. Think about a ship crossing the ocean. A tiny adjustment in direction may seem insignificant at the beginning. But after traveling thousands of miles, that small adjustment can take the ship to an entirely different destination. Your choices work the same way. A few minutes of discipline today. A better decision tomorrow. A boundary next week. A new habit next month. A year later, you may barely recognize your life. So don't underestimate small changes. Don't underestimate quiet decisions. Don't underestimate the power of simply refusing to return to what destroyed your peace. And if people ask why you are different, you don't need a speech. You can simply smile. Because they don't need to understand. You do. And that is enough. Your life is not a performance. Your healing is not a performance. Your discipline is not a performance. Your success is not a performance. Stop living as though someone is constantly watching. Live according to your values even when nobody is watching. That is integrity. And integrity is one of the foundations of Stoic strength. So remove the need for applause. Remove the addiction to comparison. Remove the fear of solitude. Remove instant gratification. Remove the obsession with being understood. Remove the excuses. Remove the attachment to familiarity. And remove the habit of abandoning yourself just to keep other people comfortable. Do it quietly. No announcement. No dramatic speech. No need to prove anything. Just make the decision. And then honor it. Because every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build trust with yourself. And when you trust yourself, you become harder to manipulate. You become harder to distract. You become harder to break. You become calmer. Stronger. More focused. More deliberate. And eventually, you stop asking, what will they think? You start asking, what is right? That question can change everything. So as you leave this video, remember. You are allowed to outgrow your old habits. You are allowed to change direction. You are allowed to protect your peace. You are allowed to become more disciplined. You are allowed to walk away from what no longer serves your purpose. You are allowed to become someone new. You don't need permission. You need courage. And you don't need to tell everyone. Just begin. And once you begin removing these things from your life, you will discover something even more important. You will discover that the hardest person to control was never the person who disrespected you. It was yourself. Your anger. Your impatience. Your insecurity. Your desire to be noticed. Your need to be right. Your fear of being rejected. Your temptation to return to what you already know is hurting you. This is where the real battle begins. Because it is easy to say you want peace when everything is peaceful. It is easy to say you are disciplined when you are motivated. It is easy to say you are emotionally strong when nobody has challenged you. But what happens when someone insults you? What happens when your plans collapse? What happens when you are ignored? What happens when you work hard and still don't see results? That is where your philosophy becomes real. A Stoic does not measure strength by how calm he is when life is easy. He measures it by how well he governs himself when life becomes difficult. Imagine someone sending you a message designed to make you angry. Your fingers move toward the keyboard. You are ready to respond. You have the perfect comeback. You could destroy them with a few sentences. But then you pause. You breathe. You put the phone down. You realize that responding will not improve your life. So you say nothing. That moment may look insignificant to everyone else. But it is not insignificant. You just won a battle most people lose every day. You chose your character over your impulse. That is strength. And you should begin collecting these quiet victories. The moment you choose patience instead of anger. The moment you choose discipline instead of comfort. The moment you choose silence instead of an unnecessary argument. The moment you choose to walk away instead of chasing someone who does not value you. The moment you choose your future instead of your temporary pleasure. These moments are shaping you. Nobody may applaud. But your future self will thank you. There is another thing you need to remove quietly. The belief that you have to feel confident before you act. Many people are waiting for confidence to arrive before they begin. They say, when I feel ready, I'll start. But confidence rarely comes first. Action comes first. Then competence. Then confidence. A person learning to speak publicly may feel terrified before their first speech. They may shake. They may forget their words. They may make mistakes. But every time they step onto that stage, they become a little more capable. Eventually, the thing that once terrified them becomes normal. This is how courage works. You don't wait for fear to disappear. You act while fear is present. So remove the habit of waiting until you feel ready. You may never feel completely ready. Begin anyway. The first attempt may be ugly. Do it. The first business may fail. Learn. The first workout may be difficult. Return tomorrow. The first video may receive almost no attention. Create another. The first book may be confusing. Keep reading. You are not supposed to be excellent at the beginning. You are supposed to begin. Another thing you should quietly remove is your attachment to immediate results. We live in a world obsessed with speed. People want success quickly. They want money quickly. They want followers quickly. They want recognition quickly. But the most valuable things in life are usually built slowly. A strong body is built through repeated training. A strong mind is built through repeated discipline. A successful career is built through years of learning. A meaningful relationship is built through trust. A respected character is built through thousands of small choices. There are no shortcuts around time. So stop checking every day to see whether your life has transformed. Imagine planting a tree and digging it up every morning to see if the roots are growing. You would destroy the very thing you were trying to build. Sometimes your job is simply to water the seed and trust the process. Do the work. Then let time do its part. You may not see progress today. Keep going. You may not see it next week. Keep going. You may feel like nothing is happening. Keep going. Growth is not always visible while it is happening. Sometimes you are becoming stronger before you feel stronger. Sometimes your roots are growing before your branches appear. Stay patient. Another powerful thing to remove is the need to make every experience meaningful immediately. Sometimes something bad happens and you immediately ask, why did this happen? What does this mean? Why me? You don't always need an answer today. Sometimes life gives you an experience that you only understand years later. A rejection may feel like destruction today and redirection tomorrow. A failure may feel humiliating today and become one of your greatest teachers later. A painful ending may feel like a loss until you discover what it made room for. You don't need to understand every chapter while you're still living it. Keep walking. The meaning may become clearer later. And when life gives you something difficult, remember the Stoic principle of focusing on what is within your control. You cannot control the event. But you can control your response. You cannot control what someone says. But you can control whether you allow it to define you. You cannot control whether someone stays. But you can control whether you abandon yourself trying to keep them. You cannot control the past. But you can control what you do with the lesson. You cannot control every outcome. But you can control your effort. That is where your power lives. Stop looking for power everywhere else. Bring it back to yourself. Another thing to remove quietly is the habit of negotiating with your own standards. You decide that you will wake up early. The alarm rings. You tell yourself, just 5 more minutes. You decide to stop wasting money. Then you see something you don't need. You tell yourself, just this once. You decide to stop contacting someone who continually hurts you. Then you feel lonely. You tell yourself, maybe this time will be different. And slowly, you teach yourself that your own promises are negotiable. That is dangerous. Because every time you break a promise to yourself, you weaken your trust in yourself. So make fewer promises. But keep the ones you make. If you say you will do something, do it. Not because someone else is watching. Because you are watching. You know. And that knowledge matters. Self-respect is built privately. It is built in the moments where you could choose the easier option but decide to honor your own word. That is why discipline is not punishment. Discipline is self-respect in action. You are telling yourself, I can trust me. And imagine what happens when you genuinely trust yourself. You stop needing constant motivation. You know that even when you don't feel like doing something, you can still do it. You know that when temptation appears, you can walk away. You know that when difficulty arrives, you can remain standing. That confidence is different. It isn't loud. It doesn't need to announce itself. It is quiet certainty. And quiet certainty is powerful. You should also remove the desire to always have the final word. Some arguments never end because both people are more interested in winning than understanding. One person speaks. The other interrupts. The first person responds. The second becomes louder. And suddenly, nobody remembers what the original disagreement was even about. Ask yourself. Does this need to be said? Does this need to be said by me? Does this need to be said right now? Those 3 questions can save you from countless unnecessary conflicts. Not every disagreement needs your participation. Sometimes you can hear something you disagree with and simply think, I see it differently. Then move on. You don't have to convert everyone to your worldview. You don't have to win every debate. You don't have to prove that you are intelligent. Real intelligence includes knowing when conversation is no longer productive. Silence can be a form of wisdom. And sometimes the strongest answer is no answer at all. Remove the need to be right when being right costs you your peace. Your ego may want the victory. Your character may want peace. Choose character. There is also something else you should remove. The habit of constantly rehearsing imaginary conversations in your mind. You imagine what you'll say if they insult you. You imagine how you'll respond if they come back. You imagine proving your point. You imagine someone finally realizing they were wrong. And while all of this is happening in your mind, your real life is passing by. Come back to the present. The conversation may never happen. The apology may never come. The person may never understand. The imaginary victory may never occur. So stop living inside conversations that don't exist. Use that mental energy to build something real. Work on your goals. Take care of your responsibilities. Improve your skills. Strengthen your body. Read. Reflect. Create. Your attention is a limited resource. Spend it carefully. Because whatever receives your attention repeatedly begins to shape your life. If you spend your attention on resentment, resentment grows. If you spend your attention on comparison, insecurity grows. If you spend your attention on distractions, your focus weakens. If you spend your attention on meaningful work, your competence grows. If you spend your attention on gratitude, contentment grows. If you spend your attention on discipline, strength grows. Choose carefully. And when you begin choosing carefully, your life becomes quieter. Not empty. Quiet. There is a difference. You may have fewer arguments. Fewer unnecessary friendships. Fewer distractions. Fewer explanations. Fewer emotional reactions. But you will have more clarity. More focus. More peace. More time. More self-respect. More control over yourself. And perhaps that is what you were searching for all along. Not a perfect life. A controlled life. A life where external chaos does not automatically become internal chaos. That is the Stoic goal. You cannot control the weather. You cannot control other people. You cannot control every event. But you can build a mind that remains steady when the storm arrives. And that is worth more than temporary comfort. So keep removing. Remove what makes you weaker. Remove what makes you reactive. Remove what makes you dependent on approval. Remove what keeps you trapped in the past. Remove what steals your attention. Remove what repeatedly violates your values. And don't announce every removal. Some doors should simply close. Some habits should simply end. Some conversations should simply stop. Some chapters should simply remain finished. You don't need to burn the book. You only need to stop rereading the same page. And perhaps one day, someone will ask you, what happened to the person you used to be? You will smile. Because you won't have an explanation. You will have evidence. The evidence will be in your discipline. Your peace. Your patience. Your boundaries. Your work. Your character. Your ability to walk away. Your ability to stay when things become difficult. Your ability to control yourself when nobody else can. That is the transformation. Not becoming someone the world fears. Becoming someone who no longer fears himself. Someone who trusts his own decisions. Someone who doesn't need chaos to feel alive. Someone who doesn't need attention to feel valuable. Someone who doesn't need revenge to feel powerful. Someone who doesn't need permission to grow. That is the person you are building. Quietly. Every single day. So don't tell everyone what you're removing. Don't announce every boundary. Don't explain every change. Don't publish every goal. Don't seek applause for every improvement. Just keep working. Keep removing. Keep becoming. And when the results finally appear, let them speak. If this message is helping you, share it with someone who needs this reminder. Leave a comment and write, "My peace is more important than my ego." And subscribe to Stoic Ascension for more powerful lessons on stoicism, discipline, resilience, self-control, and mastering your mind. Remember this. You don't become powerful by controlling everyone around you. You become powerful when you can finally control yourself, ***. So protect your peace. Guard your attention. Honor your word. Accept what you cannot change. Act on what you can. And quietly become the person your future self will be proud to meet. No announcement. No permission. No applause. Just discipline. Just patience. Just growth. Keep ascending.